yellow part, the red. Yeah, there's a column of all the regular names, and the green one is the next column. You should see them both. Yeah, the green column. Yeah, they're in the column before it. This is a regular city council meeting of the City of Ocean Shores. It is August 26, 2025, and the time is 6 p.m. This meeting is being held at the Ocean Shores Convention Center. The meetings are simulcast and archived on KOSW Radio. Meetings are live streamed with closed captioning and may be accessed on the city website under council recordings. This meeting can be viewed on cable channel 68 Thursdays at 12 p.m. and Sundays at 10 a.m. We have roll call, please.
Councilmember Sires?
Here.
Councilmember Griebel?
Here.
Councilmember Klein?
Here.
Councilmember Scott?
Here.
Councilmember Wills?
Here.
Councilmember Hartman?
Here.
I'd like to make a motion to excuse Councilmember Taylor. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Pledge of Allegiance. Richard, can you lead us?
The flag.
Can we get a approval of tonight's meeting agenda?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting agenda. Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Ceremonies and proclamation. First, we have the introduction of our city clerk, and that swear-in will be done by our administrator, Scott Anderson.
The oath of office. I, Nicole Birch, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America.
Defend the Constitution of the United States of America? No.
The Constitution of the State of Washington.
The Constitution of the State of Washington?
The laws of the State of Washington.
The laws of the State of Washington?
The ordinances of the City of Ocean Shores.
The ordinances of the City of Ocean Shores?
And will faithfully perform
And will faithfully perform
the duties of City Clerk
the duties of City Clerk
for the City of Ocean Shores, Washington,
for the City of Ocean Shores, Washington,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I do understand Joe is in the audience here and has something for you. Go ahead and come forward. There you go. Congratulations.
You might as well stay there, Scott.
Yep.
Public Works Director is going to take the office of the oath of office here, and Scott's going to administer that, and that's Ricky.
All right, I know his name. I can do without that. Oath of office. I, Ricardo Victoriano,
I, Ricardo Victoriano,
do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America,
do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Washington,
the Constitution of Washington,
the laws of the State of Washington,
the laws of the State of Washington,
the ordinances of the City of Ocean Shores,
the ordinances of the City of Ocean Shores,
and will faithfully perform the duties
and will faithfully perform the duties
of Public Works Director
of Public Works Director
for the City of Ocean Shores, Washington,
for the City of Ocean Shores, Washington,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, sir.
All right, next up we have a badge pinning for Captain Cody Sage, and that's going to be presented by our Fire Chief, Brian Ritter.
Testing. All right. This will be a badge pinning for Matthew Reitmeyer, Cody Sage, Andrew Mills, and the retirement of Inspector Kurt Begley. So real quick here, I'm honored to be here presenting these 3 promotions and a retirement for the Ocean Shores Fire Department. These accomplishments are a testament to the hard work and dedication set forth by these members. They are joined by their co-workers, family, and friends who themselves in many ways have sacrificed their time to support these members' calling. Promoting is not an easy task. It takes lots of study, leadership, and extremely hard work to make it up the ranks in our organization. All these promotions and qualifications have been met by the following individuals. When I call your name, please come forward. Matthew Reitmeyer, firefighter paramedic Matthew Reitmeyer. Matthew, will you go around and stand in front of the council and face the audience, please? Firefighter paramedic Cody Sage. And firefighter EMT Andrew Mills. I'm going to start with Matthew Reitmeyer. Will you step forward? Matthew Reitmeyer has been working in fire EMS since the fall of 2014 for 11 years total. He started as a resident firefighter EMT while attending paramedic school in Idaho. He spent a little over 2 years working private ambulance in Yakima, and he was hired with the Ocean Shores Fire Department in November of 2018, and will complete 7 years with the department on November 2nd, 2025. What he values most about the job is the friendships and bonds built through mutual trust and responsibility during difficult situations that we encounter. And he enjoys time at the station when not running calls and training with the crew through activities like pickleball, cornhole, as well as watching sports and movies. Special thanks to his mom and dad for both traveling from Idaho to be here to support him tonight, and for setting an example of what it means to be a good firefighter paramedic leader in person. He wants to thank his wife for supporting him through the schooling, private ambulance work, probation, and long overtime hours while caring for their children at home. At this time, I would like to call up his father and his wife for the badge pinning. Matthew will be promoted to lieutenant. In our organization, we have captains and lieutenants. Lieutenant is integral in running the day-to-day operations of the shift, and when the captain is not there, the lieutenant takes the helm. Greg, what fire department are you a chief at? Lewiston, Idaho. So his father is a fire chief at Lewiston, Idaho. It runs in the blood. We have to be careful when we're doing this because they're spiky. You guys go ahead and stay put there. Firefighter EMT Cody Sage, lieutenant, now being bumped up here. He's got 15 years on the job. He enjoys the camaraderie and cohesion of working with highly skilled individuals to help citizens in this community. Their professionalism and dedication to the fire service makes his job as a leader easy. He would like to thank his wife, Jess, who is instrumental behind the scenes with support for his aspirations and decision-making. He would also like to thank his children for being understanding and flexible when it comes to his schedule, which can be challenging at times. I would like to call Jessica up. Cody Sage will be promoted to captain. Cody, is it still my understanding that your son wants to follow in your calling? That is correct. Yeah. So this next member, we have a retirement, Inspector Kurt Bagley, and I'll get into that here shortly. Andrew Mills, will you step forward, please? Andrew Mills came to us from East Olympia Fire, and he has a lot of the same certifications that Inspector Bagley does, and so he will be moving into Inspector Bagley's position. Andrew has 16 years in the fire service, training, teaching, and public outreach. He would like to thank his wife Courtney and his family for their support and assistance. And I will also say that Andrew is also our representative for the County Fire Academy. So that's held at South Beach Regional Fire Authority in Westport, and Mills gives his time to instruct future firefighters for not only our organization, but fire departments all over the county. So he gives a lot of his time. He's an asset to our organization, and I feel like he's going to do a tremendous job as the inspector. So, will Courtney step forward? Is your wife? Yeah, there you go. Stand by. All right. Well, congratulations to all of you. Thank you for your hard work and dedication. Looking forward to working with you guys.
Brian,
Yeah.
oath.
Yeah.
Oath of office.
Hey. Hey, guys. Just the three people. Sorry. You got to take this oath. It's kind of important.
Raise your right hand.
I, Cody Sage, do solemnly swear that will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution of the State of Washington, the laws of the State of Washington, the ordinances of the City of Ocean Shores, and will faithfully perform the duties of Fire Department Captain for the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, to the best of my ability. All right, thank you.
Reitmeyer.
I, Matthew Reitmeyer. Gotcha. I, Matthew Reitmeyer. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution of the State of Washington, the laws of the State of Washington, the ordinances of the City of Ocean Shores, and will faithfully perform the duties of Fire Department Lieutenant for the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, to the best of my ability.
Thank you. I, Andrew Mills,
I, Andrew Mills,
do solemnly swear that
do solemnly swear that
I will support and defend
I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Washington,
the Constitution of the State of Washington,
the laws of the State of Washington,
the laws of the State of Washington,
the ordinances of the City of Ocean Shores,
the ordinances of the City of the Ocean Shores,
and will faithfully perform the duties of
and will faithfully perform the duties of
Fire Inspector for the City of Ocean Shores, Washington,
Fire Inspector for the City of Ocean Shores, Washington,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You can be seated. Thank you, gentlemen. Can I get Fire Inspector Kurt Begley up here, please? This is, if you don't know Kurt, he's a local legend. Been here for a long time. He has 33 years of service, 7 as a volunteer, including 2 years as an augment, and 26 years career. He's got 10 years as an EMT, 3 years as a manual defib tech, IV tech, and 20 years as a paramedic, and 15 years as an inspector and investigator. The things he likes most about this job is being able to help people in their time of need and the fact that every day is something different. Thanks to the city for providing the opportunity to have this job, and special thanks to my family that put up with me missing events, holidays, and times when I had to leave at all hours of the day or night regardless of what was going on at home. Kurt is a highly valued member of the department. He also serves as the fire department liaison for the CERT team. He's always out and about in the public. He's also involved with the ham operators group. I know he's involved in his church. He's a family man. He's a good guy through and through, and he's going to be deeply, deeply missed within our organization. And I hope he stops by and giggles like he does at all the goings on at the firehouse. So at this time, really quick, I would like to bring up local president from 2109, Mr. Matthew Reitmeyer. Sorry, Lieutenant Matthew Reitmeyer.
Thank you, Chief Ritter. On behalf of Local 2109, we'd like to thank you, Inspector Begley, for your 26 years of career union service, your brotherhood, and dedication to our local and to the department. We want to give you this axe as a memorabilia of the time you've served at the Beach House of Ocean Shores.
Kurt didn't want any big party. He didn't want any fanfare. He wants to go out quietly. But I think his family has other plans. We hate to see you go, Kurt, but congratulations, and I hope the next chapter is pajamas and slippers and coffee on the deck. So thank you very much for your service.
Hey, hang on a second.
Yeah, don't go back to your seat when you're done.
Hey, Brian, we've got Allison's going to, has a few words to say for the Avert team. So she'd like to read those before
Okay.
she leaves.
Okay.
So Grace Harbor Avert would also like to say thank you to Inspector Begley. He has served with the CERT program for over 30 years and has been the liaison for our Grace Harbor Avert program for 8. He has tremendous passion to help ensure we have a safer community here in Ocean Shores. He was instrumental in creating many of our outreach programs that we are currently utilizing in our community. He will be truly missed as the liaison, but we are so grateful to him for establishing a wonderful working relationship between our emergency response volunteers and our city. Kurt, you truly have been a blessing to not only our team, but to the entire county program. May you have many years of happy retirement. Thank you from your Grace Harbor Avert family.
I did want to mention really quick, not to get wordy, I usually give City Administrator Scott a report before council, but I got flustered with all this. We will be having a 9/11 ceremony in front of the fire station at 9 o'clock on 9/11. The public is invited to attend. Open house is September 26th, 6 to 9. Okay, I'm done.
All right, thanks, Brian. All right, we have announcements, board and committee vacancies. There's one vacancy on the Planning Commission, 2 vacancies on the Radio Board, 1 vacancy on the Parks Board, 1 vacancy on the Library Board of Trustees, 1 vacancy on the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee, and 1 vacancy on the Airport Advisory Committee. Appointments tonight, I would like to appoint Gail Johnston to the Library Board of Trustees with council consensus. All right, thank you. Other reports. So we've got a report from the Coastal Interpretive Center, an update by Jacob Baker.
Good evening, everyone. Oop, I think there's some slides to go along. There we are. All right. Well, well, tonight, given that it's nearing the end of August and the beginning of the next school year, I wanted to take the time to update everyone on what we've been up to this year. As now the largest museum in Grays Harbor County and the largest educational services nonprofit in Grays Harbor County, with the support of the City of Ocean Shores, I think it's important that we demonstrate really our successes in 2025 and talk about some of the challenges that we found. So there's a lot of information in the slides. I'm certainly not going to talk through all of them, but I do want to take tonight to kind of juxtapose 2023 with where we are in 2025. So if you look at ourselves in our organization about 2 years ago in 2023, we were very much a museum on the south side of Ocean Shores. And for everyone here on the council, you might know that it can be difficult to get folks on the north side of town to come down to visit on the south side. So needless to say, we had our work cut out for us in trying to meet the entire community where they are, not just geographically, but socially, economically, and culturally across Grays Harbor County and also in Ocean Shores. And I feel like in a few specific ways, we've been able to do that. If you want to go to the next slide, please. In part, we were able to do that by really broadening our focus, right? We've always thought of ourselves as natural and cultural resources. What is that? Well, biology, geology, ecology, anthropology. Biology, living things. Geology, not living things. Earth, ecology, how things fit together. And anthropology, the study of humans. If you want to go to the next slide, please. The formula that we put together also is pretty simple. In the past 2 years, it's really fueled our growth. It's additive. When you put community education together with community stewardship, caring for the people and the places that we care about, you get a greater sense of community belonging. And as everyone in the city of Ocean Shores, but also across Grays Harbor County knows, people can be a little bit disconnected, not just from their natural resources, but even from their neighbors. And so there's a real opportunity for organizations like the Coastal Interpretive Center to step in and offer some more concentrated and continual community services. If you want to go to the next slide, please. With that in mind, I'm not expecting you to read through all this, but we have recognized that we are a nonpartisan, non-advocacy organization, a little bit unique in that sense. And so we're working to be a trusted partner and an honest broker between government agencies and individuals and community groups. And as I'll talk about in a little bit with the closure of Damon Point, there are more people than ever looking to bridge government actions with their own opinions or criticisms. If you want to go to the next slide, please. And so the first thing that we've really done as an organization is expand our education. We're now providing education that is in school, that is outdoors, and also at the Interpretive Center Museum. In Ocean Shores for the North Beach School District, but also across all the 13 school districts of Grays Harbor County. We have built a cradle-to-career model. We're just wrapping up our first paid college summer internship focused on water quality monitoring tomorrow. And then we'll move on, as I'll talk about later, to another college internship at the end of this calendar year. The idea being that we can create stepping stones to ensure that when local students are proud to grow up here, they'll be proud to live here as adults. When they're proud to live here as adults, they'll be proud to give back to our community. If you want to go to the next slide, please. With that in mind, we set a pretty conservative goal to educate 800 unique students from across Grays Harbor in 2025. up about 30% from last year. If you want to go to the next slide, please. We've blown past that number pretty significantly. In the first 6 months of this year, we've already educated 1,200 unique students, and we're estimating that we'll educate another 400 to 500 through the remainder of this calendar year. Our focus really is on things that are local to Grays Harbor students, trying to help them understand what's in their own backyard and reconnect them with those natural resources. And you can see some of the topics there on that slide. Next slide, please. We're working with a lot of different federal, state, tribal partners, the Quinault Indian Nation especially, but I will mention, as is going to be a theme, that a lot of the funding that has helped our growth and expansion has been cut in federal and state budgets. And so while we've had real strong programmatic growth, of course, our funding is tenuous going into the next calendar and fiscal year. Next slide, please. And as I mentioned, we've beefed up our college internship program with support from different state agencies, offering paid opportunities for students at Grays Harbor College and elsewhere in the area to get exposure to science careers. It's important that they learn about natural resource industries like logging, forestry, and fisheries, but they also recognize that there are alternative scientific options if they can't go into that. It's been a real great experience. We'll have a temporary exhibit with data that the summer intern collected, and that will go up in the beginning of September. Next slide, please. And you'll see that in the autumn and the winter, we'll have another internship opportunity for local students focused on the interior of our museum, looking at reimagining our museum exhibits. Next slide, please. Of course, a lot of the funding for these internships, again, is being challenged by different federal funding machinations. And we're working to figure out right now how we can continue these successful internships in 2026. Next slide. We created the first free teacher training for Grays Harbor teachers this past June. It worked out pretty well. It was 10 Grays Harbor teachers that we brought to a variety of sites across the county. Some of them had never been there before, nor even considered some of the topics we were talking about. We brought them out to the Quinault Indian Nation pen rearing hatchery on Lake Quinault. One of the teachers who'd grown up in Grays Harbor said to me aloud, she'd never given a thought to salmon reintroduction or restoration. And then after visiting the hatchery, she fully supported it. So it just goes to show that if we can reconnect teachers to their natural resources, then they'll be more invested in their students as well. Next slide. As it relates to tourism and ocean shores, and as it relates to our function in the community, our visitor services, that is the amount of people that we're welcoming into our museum, increased dramatically last year, up about 50%, give or take, from 2023. And we projected a 50% growth this year as well. That's probably not going to happen, and that's largely due to the closure of Damon Point. That significantly affected traffic in the south side of Ocean Shores. So we'll probably hit last year's number as well. The number there on the screen is only through the first 3 months. Of course, it excludes the majority of the busy summer season. Next slide. I'm not going to go through all the text in the next few slides. You're welcome to look at that yourself, except to say that we found a couple important trends, as I'll talk about in some of our outreach later on. The main thing being that visitors are coming to Ocean Shores looking for outdoor recreation opportunities. And when they come to the Coastal Interpretive Center, they're looking for our help to find them, particularly because most arrive in Ocean Shores not knowing about the closure of Damon Point. They're looking for alternatives and can't necessarily find what it is they're looking for. So we have really kind of stepped in as that visitor center on the south side of town, providing them opportunities with the Weatherwax, other beaches, but also looking up the north coast and looking over to the Lake Quinault rainforest. And largely, people are satisfied. Of course, they're disappointed that their longtime haunt is closed, and it has certainly affected our visitor traffic. We probably have 5 to 15 different individual complaints every day about Damon Point. Next slide. Again, as you'll notice, a lot of the funding that is really allowed for our expansion in visitor services this year through federal and state organizations is going to be discontinued in 2026. And so we're working very hard to find alternate sources of funding right now. When we think about outreach in Grays Harbor County encounters that you see on your screen, this is just our interactions with different individuals. As I mentioned before, we're trying to meet people where they are to inspire them to then come to our museum in Ocean Shores and boost the tourism here in Ocean Shores. We dramatically stepped up our public outreach opportunities this year with more than 60 different tours and outreach events across Grays Harbor County just in the past 3 months alone. Next slide. Keep going if you like. And again, some of the trends on the screen there you'll find in your packet with the slides. The big thing that we've noticed is that as we've invested a lot of time into providing outreach services at Lake Quinault along that 101 corridor, the circumnavigation of the Olympic Peninsula, most of those tourists that we meet there are not or never intending to come to Ocean Shores. And vice versa, a lot of the tourists that we find come to our museum in Ocean Shores are not intending to do that 101 loop. And so we're trying to figure out ways now to entice visitors to go back and forth and figure out how we can knit itineraries together to build more tourist traffic. Next slide, please. And so with that in mind, we're trying to embrace not just the entirety of the city, all the residents, ages, abilities, and backgrounds, but the entirety of the county, recognizing that when we do that, we'll be a more successful museum, organization, and also tourist opportunity for the city. With that said, I'm really grateful for the support of a lot of different city departments, working with planning, public works, and others to make our work possible in 2025. And additionally, we're continuing to beef up the services in the Interpretive Center. We'll have a new website rolling out in late September, October. We're making improvements, some very needed, to our roof and other physical infrastructure. And we're doing our best to make a successful institution at the south side of town. Next slide, please. So if you'd like to hear more about our accomplishments, you're welcome to join us for our end of summer celebration. That'll be September 13th at the VFW at 3 p.m. You can buy tickets on our website. I'm happy to answer any questions or comments or concerns anyone might have.
Any questions from council? All right, I guess not. Thanks, Jacob.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next up, we have a Parks Board update, and that's presented by Kristen Hartman.
Good evening. I'm not as well versed as Jacob, so I have to read off of my screen. Good evening, Council, Mayor, and the citizens of Ocean Shores. I'm pleased to present an update on what's been happening with the park since we last met at the budget meeting in November. Okay, Emerson Park. If you recall, during our last budget presentation, you authorized the resurfacing of the tennis court at Emerson Park and the addition of 4 pickleball courts, a water fountain, and new benches. And I am pleased to say that we completed the resurfacing and restriping, and it was done under budget. At the July Parks Board meeting, we received some really good feedback, and the pickleball community was thanking us, so I wanted to pass that on to you to let you know that people are enjoying it. The water fountain and the new benches will be installed in 2026. Next slide. So this is pretty exciting too. So the Parks Foundation and the library have partnered up with a program called Pickleball for All. The foundation purchased 2 sets of pickleball rackets and balls, and you can check out a set for up to a week at the library using your library card. If you don't have a library card, just head on down to the library and sign up for one because it's free. Each set contains 4 rackets and 4 balls. You can also go to the library's website and reserve the equipment online. Next slide. Lights and cameras. So I'm happy to report that the city will be working on cameras at both North Bay and Chinook. And next slide, the skateboard cameras. So the skateboard park was equipped with cameras and they are up and running. So as you can see in these 2 pictures, this is the view of the cameras. Per the local government common records retention schedule, or CORE is how it's known, we must retain footage for a minimum of 30 days, but these, our cameras keep record for 45 days, and they only record when there is movement present. Lighting is still being addressed at the skateboard park. Next slide is a student liaison. So we had our first ever student liaison, Elton Rocky, and it was an amazing asset to have a student represent on the board. He was able to provide good feedback from the students, and he was able to pass on the information about our parks and what were the improvements at the park. Unfortunately, we still have that position open as Elton has graduated and has moved on to college. And I'm going to do a shameless plug. He's going to Washington State University, so go Cougs. I emailed the principal, Wendy McCoy, that we're recruiting a new liaison. So if you know any juniors or seniors out there, that position's open, so just contact the city or myself. Next up, just want to quickly touch on something that I brought up during our budget presentation back in November. I spoke about an upcoming grant from the Recreation and Conservation Office at the state, specifically for youth athletic facilities. It's a $1.5 million grant, and if it's awarded, it could completely revitalize North Bay Park. North Bay Park is one of our most popular parks in the city. It houses all of our amenities, covered picnic area, playground, restrooms, basketball court, boat launch, and a baseball diamond that the high school men's baseball team uses as their home field. Next slide. Although this says it's a 50% match, the city is only required to match 30% of the grant limit, and that's due to meeting the criteria of a community in need, an underserved population, and a county in need. When we did the Parks Comprehensive Plan back in 2024, as you remember, it was that very small book. On page 243 of the Parks Plan, you agreed that North Bay Park covered picnic area, the baseball fields, and the park shed were a high priority to be completed by 2030. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the covered picnic structure has been earmarked in the capital facilities plan as a need to address. So we have a huge opportunity to upgrade a park with a small financial investment from the city. So I'm hoping that when the time comes, that maybe you'll see the need and the value to move forward with this grant. Just thank you so much for allowing me the time to update you guys on the parks. I know that we've been really busy and the community really does appreciate all the amenities that you guys have allowed us to be able to do with the funds. We really appreciate your faith in us in doing so. We just want to improve all the parks, one park at a time. So thank you. Do you guys have any questions or comments?
I guess not. Thank you. Oh, Allison. Yeah, go ahead.
Surprise.
Get that hand up quick.
When does the grant need to be applied for? What are the timelines?
Yeah, so the grant will open in early 2026, and it's a two-step grant process. So we will submit the information, and it goes to a review committee, and then they then determine if we can move forward to the application process. So it's a two-step process.
Yes, go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, no, I just had a question really quick about, so obviously there's a huge difference between whether it's 50% or 30%. And every time I try to apply it for things for an underqualified community, like our valuation is too high and our population is too high for like commerce. So if you're, I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you're
okay.
sure, are we sure that's accurate? Because that changes things a great deal if it is.
It is accurate.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
And actually, we can maybe even apply it, be eligible for less, even a 10%, because the park is so close to one area that is a little lower socioeconomic status, but I think it might be just outside of that area, but the grant manager would know.
Terrific. Yeah, no, I know we're into the anomaly in the county now, that Ocean Shores is now different than, I know Westport has been able to qualify for things that we can't. So that'd be great if it could.
Right.
All right, Rich.
And I want to back up what Scott said. The grant manager was pretty convincing to us that we didn't qualify for anything less than 50. So if you could coordinate with them to help. Thank you.
Yeah, there was a map on the grant, and we were in that section. So, but yes, we can definitely.
Any other questions? I guess not.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thanks,
Kristen.
thanks, you guys. Go play pickleball.
All right, next up, we got public communication to council. Public communication to council is intended for communication to the city council regarding general council business or policy not on tonight's agenda. Address comments and questions to the city council body, not to an individual member or city staff. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. We request that comments be nice and respectful. This is not a question and answer time, and the council cannot engage in conversation with the public. No person may use the public comment for the purpose of campaign or advertisement. The city council will begin the time once the citizen has started their public comment. At 2 minutes, you will see a green light followed by a yellow light indicating 30 seconds remain of the public comment period. A red light will notify the reader that the public comment time is ended. Order of public comments will be first individuals attending in person, second individuals attending remotely. The general public comment, whether in person or remotely, will continue in the usual position on the agenda. Public comments for the agenda items that were removed will be addressed following the conclusion of general public comment. So, Scott, who do we have up next?
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. We have 10 general public comments tonight, and the first, Randy Peck, Dog Park.
Randy Peck, Ocean Shores. It's come to my attention in regards to the large side of the dog park, and after months and months of discussions with the Parks Board individuals, that the large side floods. I was here before and said we need to dig a trench on 3 sides, fill with cobble, it acts as a French drain, cover it with geocloth, and then put rock for their walking path over it. The dirt from within it can go inside the large dog area to raise it up, and with a simple transit, slope it towards the drainage area. Otherwise, it's a swamp. Also, I was informed they're thinking of using wood chips. I don't know if they're going to use regular wood chips or engineered wood fiber, which is recommended for most parks because of the nature of the material is different than just regular old wood chips. The difference also is there's no point in putting wood chips on something that the wood chips are going to simply float around. That's why you want it to raise it up and have it drain properly into the drainage area. There's no point in doing what we normally do in Ocean Shores, i.e. let's look at our roads, when we don't take care of the subsurface before we put material on top of it. Chancellor is a perfect example. We put 11 inches of asphalt on it to smooth it, and it's one of our favorite rides now in town. You just need a toboggan instead of a car. So why don't we do it properly the first time? Fill it, grade it, make it drain, put the path and the drainage ditch in, which is a French drain, to solve the problem. You know, let's do it right. We do too many things haphazardly, and then we end up having to do it again. Do it once, do it right, save us money in the long term. Thank you.
Tim and Mike, update on Ocean Shores Friends.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and citizens of Ocean Shores. Last time Mike and I were here, we were letting you know that we were having an open house on our respite for Alzheimer's, and we had that on July 31st, and it was a great success. We had over 100 people, to include the mayor and Scott and the chief of police and chief of a fire department. And it was a great success. We had a lot of questions. We gained some more volunteers, and we also served a nice lunch. And then we successfully opened our first respite meeting on August 12th. We had 3 friends, which were people with Alzheimer's, and to see these people come into this environment and sit down and play games and have a good time. And the caregivers that dropped them off, they didn't know what to do at first. And finally they left. And when they come back at 2 o'clock, they're like, we didn't know what to do because we had 4 hours to ourselves. And it was great. And then for them to come back at 2 o'clock and see their loved ones sitting there having fun and laughing and engaging in the games was awesome. And so at this point, we had our 3rd respite meeting today. and we had 4 friends there, and it was great. I'm sorry I had a few slides to show, but I guess we can't do that during this. But it was a great success, and we look forward to continuing. Mike, you want to add to that?
Yes, I just want to point out that dementia, Alzheimer's, is a disease of isolation. Untreated, undiagnosed, people withdraw. They withdraw from their families, they withdraw from their community, and they withdraw from themselves. I myself was diagnosed with dementia in February. My wife and I came together and talked about this and said there must be other people out there. And we find out that there were. And the city has been very good. I want to recognize the veterans of foreign wars, Ocean Shores Post, veterans, Vietnam Veterans of America, and the local spiritual assembly of the Baha'is of Aberdeen for their continued support and financial assistance. Thank you.
I'd like to throw one more honorable mention out there to the IGA. They donated a chicken dinner for the respite for lunch. So thank you very much.
Lorna and Larry Frickle, but there's no topic listed. Are they in the audience? Lorna and Larry Frickle? Okay. Lillian Broadbent, stop signs and speed bumps.
Lillian Broadbent, citizen of Ocean Shores for a few years. I noticed this weekend, I went out, I haven't been doing that, I went out garage sailing. And lo and behold, I've had occasion to drive, not on the streets that we've all heard discussed, with all of the new stop signs and speed bumps, or whatever those are called, speed cushions, but I was on Albion, which I was on that street 4 times this weekend, and I never saw another car. But I have brand new stop signs to stop at and speed bumps to navigate. I would rather see that money be allocated in the future for crosswalks in our more populated areas. I also noticed that downtown, the crosswalks we have are barely keeping up with the traffic during the summer. And a few more where Point Brown is, and I know that may be part of the redevelopment plan, but for now, and until we get something else, it would sure be nice to have some more lighted crosswalks that our tourists and slow people like me can take advantage of. I appreciate the effort with the stop signs and the speed cushions. Quite frankly, I do not understand it with the traffic that we have on some of those streets, or the lack thereof. So anyway, I want to throw my 2 cents worth on that. And I hope that this comment doesn't get misconstrued. We've had some folks come up following something that I've said or someone else has said and redefine it for us and claim that it's something else. And I would hope that that can stop. It would be really nice to be able to say what you want to say and have that be it. It doesn't need a follow-up. Thank you.
Susan Canary, democracy depends on truth.
Thank you, Susan Canary. Let's start with a simple question. When does public land become private property? Apparently, here in Ocean Shores, when someone posts a sign and nobody is looking. At my last visit, I raised concerns about the private property no trespassing signs on the public right-of-way at Neptune. I sent my remarks in writing to each of you, as well as the city administrator and the mayor. The replies I received, exactly one. The rest of you, silence. That lone reply suggested the signs are meant to, quote, protect people from themselves. An interesting philosophy, perhaps suitable for a kindergarten classroom, but rather insulting when applied to tax-paying adults. Citizens are not children. We don't need fairy tales, we need facts. And the fact is simple. Neptune Way is public land. It has not been vacated. Labeling it private property is false, full stop. If safety is the concern, the solution is obvious. Post signs that say temporarily closed, erosion control. Honest, accurate, legal. Instead, we get deception on a post and silence in response, which leaves the public wondering, is misleading the community now considered an acceptable form of governance? If so, maybe the next budget shortfall can be solved by putting up private property signs at City Hall and renting it out on Airbnb. This is not just about one street. It's about whether the city values transparency over convenience. When false signs are left standing and leadership goes mute when challenged, trust erodes faster than the dunes we're supposedly protecting. If we allow private signs to stand on public land, we invite a bigger falsehood. Welcome to Ocean Shores, where the public land is private and the truth is negotiable. And at that point, maybe we should just change the city motto to Ocean Shores, open to the public, except where it isn't. Thank you.
Kurt Dooley, Communications.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. I want to shine a line on two community assets that don't always get the recognition they deserve. KOSW and North Beach TV Channel 68. These stations are run by a small team of dedicated staff and volunteers, and what they've been producing is remarkable. They bring us music, talk shows, and even high school sports. It's programming you can't get anywhere else, and it's a real gift to this community. But here's the thing, they're stretched thin. The commitment and passion are there, but they simply don't have enough volunteers to keep up with everything they'd like to do. They can cover home football games, but basketball, which moves fast and takes more hands, isn't possible without more help. These stations aren't short on ideas or talent, they're short on people willing to step in and lend a hand, both in front of and behind the microphone. When KOSW put out the call for sponsors, the community delivered. They needed 3 and ended up with 9. That shows just how much people value what the station provides. On the TV side, Channel 68 is still looking for advertisers to make broadcasts possible. So there's opportunity for businesses and organizations to step up and make a real difference. KOSW and Channel 68 are about more than entertainment. They're about connection. They tell our story, they give our youth a spotlight, and they keep us informed. As in any small town, that matters. So I encourage anyone who can, volunteer, advertise, sponsor, or simply spread the word. Most importantly, tune in. Watch and listen to what they're presenting, and support their sponsors. Let the sponsors know you heard about them on the radio or TV. That feedback keeps the support coming. And if you'd like to learn more, talk to Daryl Prouse after this meeting. He's the one in the back of the room broadcasting for us right now. Finally, I want to thank our City Council, and Mayor Jukebox for their ongoing support of these stations. Thank you.
Jen Hyatt has a comment, but I believe she waved to me that she had to leave the room. So I will go on to the next. Maria Van Horn, First Amendment free speech violation.
Maria Van Horn, member of Indivisible Ocean Shores. The mayor clearly violated the basic principles of the First Amendment when he ordered the words, "Democracy depends on it," covered at a booth promoting voter registration at the 2024 San Ensadas Festival. I have shared the details several times. Over a year later, and nothing has been done by the mayor or the city council to right this wrong and guarantee that it won't happen again. Not even a response to the box on this form that I checked 5 times requesting a response. Why even have this box if it's just going to be ignored? It says, I would like to have city response to the public comment. I even had a council member tell me that he doesn't know what the mayor does because he just keeps his head down. You can imagine my thoughts on his response. The First Amendment is there to safeguard all citizens from government censorship, not to be ignored and avoided. We must not take it for granted. We must protect it as it defends the pillars of our democracy: freedom of religion, speech, press, assembly, and petition. I would like to suggest that everyone present tonight read the book, It Can't Happen Here, by Sinclair Lewis, written in 1935. It offers a cautionary tale about the fragility of democracy and an alarming look at how fascism could take hold in America, as it did in 1930s Germany. We are living this novel now. You can see it every day on the news. If we don't stand up in our community and fight for our freedoms, we will continue to see the loss of them. It can happen here. Members of Indivisible will not back down from the fight for every citizen's right to free speech. After hearing several people sworn in tonight saying they would support and defend the Constitution of the United States, I hope it's a reminder to current members of the city to remember that they took this oath. Please take it seriously. If you go to Ronald Reagan's library in California, this is what you're greeted with. Democracy brings a better and freer life from all. It's from Ronald Reagan, not Barack Obama. So please consider and take your oath seriously. Thank you.
Taylor Priest, local issue.
Thank you for this time, Mayor, council members, and citizens of Ocean Shores. I'm going to begin with clarifying comments to avoid attempts at confusion over language, specifically the word democracy. A republic, a government where elected officials carry out the people's will, requires democracy, the democratic ideals of freedom and justice for all. That's certainly not where this country began, but in moments throughout history, we have inched closer to it. We ended institutionalized slavery. Women gained the vote. We aligned on the side that put Hitler in a box 6 feet underground. We legalized gay marriage. Trans people became visible. We even loosened the chokehold of white supremacy, but sadly we did not destroy it. Moving on. The name of the system seems far less important than threats from the federal government against Washington citizens. This is a real threat against which some believe they are immune. They're wrong, just as some Germans were when Hitler wormed his way in. What happens up there rolls down here. Pam Bondi, U.S. Attorney General, threatened our state this week in writing. Our governor's courageous response, unfortunately, won't protect Ocean Shore citizens from ICE. How will our local authority answer when Ocean Shores is confronted with unidentified, unbadged, no proof of authority, people in masks armed to the hilt, ready to take whomever they please, treat them however they please, do whatever they please without fear of consequence because they have been so empowered by our federal government's overreach? City officials and authorities need to be prepared. If we don't show up here to talk about this now, how will they know we are concerned? How will they be driven to action? The governor made it clear that Washington State will not be intimidated or bullied, but how will those sworn to protect Ocean Shores answer? My confidence wanes when I hear Ocean Shores police officers repeat the orange propaganda. What is this council and its mayor doing to partner with the police and fire departments? What can the council do? A month ago, the King County Council reaffirmed its commitment to its immigrants by issuing a public statement reminding local law enforcement that they are prohibited from cooperating with ICE agents and targeting individuals based on citizenship status. Repeating a shocking statistic, so far this year, ICE is averaging 5 arrests per day in Washington State, an 85% leap from all of 2024, per the WashingtonStateStandard.com. Thank you.
Tom Hamilton, 54321.
Tom Hamilton, Ocean Shores. First, I want to congratulate the appointees, the promotions, and the honorees tonight. A special shout out to our firefighters. Thank you for your service. Mayor, council members, city staff, my fellow citizens. A fortnight ago, I addressed this august body and asked 4 simple questions. I posted my remarks to the city public comment page and was advised by city staff that they would be forwarded to the mayor and the mayor pro tem for response. The next word on the closed caption for those viewing online is crickets. I posted my comments to social media and the keyboard warriors lit up. Mostly they got it wrong. It wasn't about a business trying to make it at the end of the road on a sandbar on the edge of the Pacific Ocean. It was about governance or lack thereof. I've made a number of public record requests. While one can sift a few nuggets of potential malfeasance, the real gem is on full view on the city website. On the mayor's page, 5 values: honesty, openness, ethical behavior, responsible actions, fairness. That brings us to the 4 questions I asked my last comments. I didn't think they were particularly difficult. Are we in a COVID emergency? Are we not? Will emergency be lifted? Did the city illegally gift money? There are 3 possible explanations for no response. They're too busy to reply. They don't know the answers, or they're hiding something. There are 2 reasons. Why would someone serve an elected office as an elected official? You want to be a good steward of Ocean Shore, or you just want to collect a $60,000 paycheck. That brings us to the one seminal question. This is a toss-up for all sitting at the dais to address. When I finish my remarks and leave the podium, the next speaker will be called. I know the rules, how the game is played. Later in the agenda, there is for the good of the order. Here is where each of you can answer that question. Which side of integrity do you want to stand on?
And then Lauren and Larry Frickle, I called earlier. Were we in the audience to make a comment, or is that passed? Okay, I guess they've not returned, so that concludes public comment.
All right, we got staff reports up next. First up is City Administrator Scott Anderson.
All right. Well, Brian Ritter helped me out. Chief Ritter helped me out a little bit because normally he does send me a length of stats and reports that I can give. And I was in meetings all day, so he did not send it, and I did not have time to receive it. So I have nothing written, but I will give you an update on just a couple things that are happening in the city that concerned us today. I know one issue was brought up by the Coastal Interpretive Center, and that is Damon Point. We went out to take a look at it this morning. It is really not there. Even at the lowest of low tide, there's about 100 feet of water between the lowest point where the RV park is and name an island. So it is officially an island. There's no way to get out there other than by boat, and that's at low tide. At high tide, it becomes an extremely dangerous environment. But we went out there not just for reasons of looking at Damon Point and its where it stands now, but because we're seeing some real changes in the currents, and it's pushing that sand and sediment into the harbor, which could affect dredging and shipping, and could potentially block the marina as well. We'll have maybe a larger report on that, but that was just something we were looking at today, and taking steps to prepare for our next challenge in combating erosion and making it erosion mitigation efforts here at the city. And then I had a lengthy meeting with the Airport Advisory Board members and the FAA today. The FAA come down to visit us to look at our airport. They have not been down here in a few years. We're talking about modernizing our airport with a capital improvement plan and what things we'd like to see to make that airport more amenable to the general public. We talked about an AWAS 3 system. We'd like to incorporate the airport more into our emergency management plans and our emergency management planning, especially with the realistic possibility that in a serious accident, both 109 and 115 would not be available to us. And the only way to actually evacuate people from Ocean Shores would be the Ocean Shores Municipal Airport. So we're looking at that. We're looking at increasing the number of hangars that are available that would generate revenue for the city. Hangars are increasingly expensive at airports and increasingly difficult to find. So we're looking at that possibility of getting a hangar. And then we're looking at some instruments that might allow life flight and others. And Denise knows actually more about the technical aspects of this by having flown a plane herself than I do, but it would allow life flight to land in extreme fog or below that 100 feet line where we can no longer see, so we could still evacuate people. So those are just the things we talked about. It was a lengthy meeting. We went out to the airport and looked at some of the modernization that needs to take place, but that's really all I have for us today.
All right. Thanks, Scott. So we have a staff report on the Southern Erosion berm work update, and that's going to be presented by our project manager, Becky Leach, and our lead planner, Marshall Reed.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, and citizens of Ocean Shores. Marshall and I are excited to give the update on the plan for the berm work for the winter of 2025. And we've been getting a lot of questions about it lately, so the timing is perfect to cover this at this meeting. So currently in the erosion budget, what we have right now is just a little over $1 million. And we do not plan to spend all of that money this year, and I'll give a breakdown on financials towards the end of this piece. So we don't plan to spend all of that this year, and then the expectation going forward is that we'll be able to use some of the additional money and then money in years budgeted going forward just for maintenance. So what we're doing this winter is really like our midterm plan for the berm, and it will last for as many years to do maintenance as it will take us to plan for like the 40-year type solution, because we don't know exactly what that is yet. So this is really the big push this year for what needs to get done down there. Northwest Rock was awarded the contract in November of 24, and it's a year contract, so they're still under contract. And then we also have the option to extend it at the end of November of 2025. So we'll be working with Northwest Rock. They also have the cobble contract, and we're getting a really good price for cobble. It's $45 a ton. And financial-wise, what I've broken down with Marshall based on quantities that have been put together for us by the engineers is approximately $538,000. And that's for the labor and approximately 11,000 tons of cobble to be put on the berm. And we're expecting it to be about a 3-week project this year. So, and then I'll let Marshall talk a little bit more about the details of what is going to be done.
Thanks, Becky. So, we're working through a draft design that was just sent to the office today. The total length of the work that's being planned is about 2,850 feet. That's the total length of the berm that was extended last year under the Commerce Grant when we received the additional funding, and that runs from about 3 lots west of the Neptune Way right-of-way all the way down to the Ocean Shores Marina RV Park. So that's a 2,850-foot run. The estimate for the amount of cobble that's going to be added per linear foot is about 3 cubic yards. And so we work that out based on a 700 ton per day application rate. That's what our contractors were able to do consistently last year. And we expect the same this year. So that turns this into about a 3-week project. And we are in the process of making applications for the hydraulic project approval permit from the Washington State Department of Ecology. And we expect that the permit will come in sometime around the 3rd week of December, yeah, past storm season, about the 3rd week of September. And so I had a conversation with our area biologist, and we're going to go ahead and hold off and watch the weather outlook in that time frame. If we see something on the horizon, I let her know that we would give her a courtesy call and the trucks would start rolling. And she was agreeable to provide us with an emergency HPA should that condition arise. So hopefully we get our normal decent weather for most of September and the first part of October. We'll get the work in and put to bed, and then we start into the other analysis that we have going with another coastal engineering firm to look at the Damon Point issue. And Scott kind of alluded to that. The situation down there is getting worse than we had anticipated in a shorter time frame than I had anticipated. My initial fear was that we were going to be plugging up the marina exit and having problems with our fresh waterways. The depth of the channel running by the marina now is providing an outlet for the sediment that was blocking that up. And so my fear is no longer, will the fresh waterways have a place to drain? I think that's a pretty good shot that we're not going to have a problem there. The problem is splitting the flow of water going in and out of the harbor and affecting the channel. So we are putting together a meeting with all of the agencies. We'll have the Army Corps of Engineers, our consultant, the Port of Grace Harbor, the Quinault Nation. Everybody will get to the table, and we'll try to come up with a solution that kind of splits the cost of this up, maybe a little more, reduce the burden on the city as a single entity. So that's kind of where we're at down there on the south end. You guys have any questions? We're happy to entertain.
Go ahead, Richard. So I'm just curious, what effect would people traversing the berm to access the beach have on the berm itself?
It's actually, there's no negative impact that I could see with somebody walking across the berm. The negative impact could possibly be somebody falling off the face of the berm. So
that's my next question. I've been to the berm under your supervision, but I haven't been there in a long, long time. What's the risk liability for somebody trying to walk down that cobble to the beach? And then what's the potential, I know you're not a lawyer, but what's the potential for a lawsuit?
So we had that conversation with insurance companies that were representing the private property owners along that beach, because we didn't want to assume the liability for private property owners allowing their renters access across the berm and down onto the beach, which is their right, it's their property, and our easement allows them to do that. But there's basically a clause in the easement that is going to, protect the city and the homeowner. If somebody's going to sue, they can sue whoever they want, whenever they want. It's not a foregone conclusion. But there is that, buyer beware. If you're going to walk over a cobble berm and take a chance and you're renting from an Airbnb, chances are they're going to look there first. We would not want to encourage people to walk down our city right away there at Neptune Way and fall there. Then the city could assume some liability, I would expect, in that case. So we have continued to keep that area closed. The access down that would put people on private property anyway. We don't want to encourage people to trespass, so we're going to keep that closed until we've got everything stabilized and have safe areas to access. Part of this berm easement negotiation included access for each of the owners. They're going to split a property line. Every other property line will have some sort of a foot access for their customers. That was part of the agreement to allow us to put the berm on their property. And just, if anybody's wondering, that was a no-cost easement. The benefit was to both parties, and we didn't charge them anything and they didn't charge us anything. We're simply allowed to put that on there and maintain it so long as it's necessary to protect the public infrastructure behind those buildings.
All right, anybody else have a question?
So I have a final question. My memory, as this has been discussed over the whole berm process, is that the future plans, once the berm is stabilized and the engineers come up with a viable plan for a permanent structure, that there's a planned access on Neptune. Is my memory correct?
Yeah, that is correct. And that would be to direct people west onto the Washington State Game Department land, not to the east on private property. You're welcome.
All right.
Lisa?
Oh, yeah, Lisa.
So we appreciate your work for that. And it's not just what the Coastal Interpretive Center reported, that visitors are disappointed. I know people that live in our community have been really saddened by the change in the geography down there and the limited access to a beach that, well, it's not there anymore. But do you feel like we need to do some improvements to the signage down there just to make it more clear and to continue to restrict access so that people aren't hurt or injured?
Yeah, so the signage will be cleaned up at the end of the project. Right now, we're going to go in and tear the place apart again. So any signs that are in there that are in the way of the construction activities and stuff like that, those are going to be pulled out. Any surveys that need to be cleaned up and whatnot, we'll take care of that. And then the signs going back in after the project will be strategically located and appropriately put together so that everybody knows what's there, where they can go, where they can't go, who owns the property, who doesn't own the property, that kind of stuff. So we'll get that cleaned up at the end of the project. We don't want to do it twice, so we're kind of dragging our feet on getting that cleaned up.
Any other questions? All right, I guess not. Thanks.
All right, thanks,
Good
guys.
report. All right, next we got council liaison reports and council committee reports, and we'll start with Denise.
I attended agenda review. I also attended a planning meeting for the first LTAC meeting, which is now scheduled for September 5th. And I attended Public Works, and I will give just a quick overview because we discussed a lot of things, including the two items that are on the agenda tonight. We got an update on the clinic, which is anticipated to have construction finished by mid-October. The fire station module, which should have its completion by the end of October. Many of you already know that the fresh waterway spraying was completed. The water tanks have been refurbished. Let's see, the head screen for wastewater is being manufactured, and the soffit painting for this building here is going to be resumed and should be completed soon, and we will have a new electronic sign outside of the convention center, which will be about the same size, if I understood, but will have many more features than the current sign does. Did I forget anything, Rich? You can add to it.
All right, thanks, Denise. Lisa.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing to report this evening.
All right, Lisa Scott.
I attended agenda setting and the Public Safety Committee, and Allison's going to give that report.
All right, Allison.
I signed warrants and attended the Public Safety Committee meeting, and at the meeting, Chief Ritter talked about the new hires and filling those positions. Chief Logan gave us an update on positions in the police department, and we had some discussion on the where we're at with the process of hiring the deputy chief.
All right, Richard.
So I signed warrants. I also attended the agenda setting on the 14th. I met with the mayor on the 18th. We had a great conversation. And most significant, I attended the radio board meeting earlier today. And I've got 3 notes from there. The radio station is currently looking for DJs to help broadcast the HIAC basketball and football games. If you're interested, email the radio station at kosw889fm@gmail.com. If we don't get volunteers, then we're not going to be able to, the radio station is not going to be able to continue broadcasting. And how cool it is that Ocean Shores High School has their football and basketball games broadcast on the radio and available worldwide over their feed. What happened to my screen? The other thing is there's a retired radio DJ. His name was Jukebox Frank. He's back on the air from 6 to 9 p.m. on Tuesdays that don't have city council meetings. And if you haven't drawn the connection, Jukebox Frank is our mayor. Thank you, Mayor. And the radio station is working hard to become self-sufficient. And as Mr. Dooley already pointed out, they now have a total of 9 sponsors, which brings them a great step closer to becoming more self-sufficient. That's all I have.
All right, thanks, Richard. Rich?
All right, I'll add the few things that Denise left me to talk about. You know, we had a good sit down with our new Public Works Director, Ricky, at the Public Works meeting. And as was spoken tonight at the podium and also through some emails, Ricky did address the backflow device that they are working on putting into our water system. Right now, it's possible that the current check valves that we have could have a bit of backflow into the water table, but it's minimum. And the only chemical that could possibly have backflow, because there actually is an air pocket that, Ricky, you can help me with this. There's an air pocket that helps keep the chemicals where they're supposed to be. But there's one that could have gone a little bit back, and it's the chemical that we use to help with the smell. So it's minimal, it wouldn't harm anything, and they're working on the solution. And you know, I don't really appreciate, I'm sure the administration doesn't appreciate that we're all guilty because something happened or didn't happen 15 years ago. We're here, we're working on it, there is a plan. Let us do our jobs. The mayor's also working, mayor and administration are working on trying to help us with our capital facilities plan. They are trying to work with the union so that we have an affordable solution so that we can help refurbish our facilities and buildings in an affordable way. And one of the other projects that's in the works, we're starting to work on a plan for the 3 million gallon water tank. It needs complete refurbishing and cleaning, and it really needs a seismic upgrade. And they're working on a grant for the seismic upgrade portion. And if they're able to do that, the amount of money that it would cost to completely refurbish and seismic upgrade the current tank would be in excess of what a new tank would be. So as they're working on the plan and working on whether or not they qualify for the grant, they'll go one or two directions. So that time will tell. But anyway, thank you for getting us a Public Works Director, and it was a great meeting.
All right, thanks. So can I get approval for the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right, so we're on to old business, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, amending Ocean Shores Municipal Code, Chapter 15.34.080B, sign code, regarding temporary signs, providing for servability, and establishing an effective date. And this time it's going to be presented by Richard Wills.
Thank you. So I have to confess, I dropped the ball a little bit on this ordinance. I made some assumptions that I usually try to avoid making assumptions. So the council is going to discuss and then decide what our future, what we're going to do. It has come to my attention that there are some verbiage changes that are probably a good idea to implement. There's a discussion about the current ordinance talks about being, I got to get the words right here, the difference between a an amendment and a, Frank, help me out here, amendment and a
Resolution.
resolution. And the words
I think it
actually
was,
very
I'm
important.
sorry, revision.
Revision. I knew that. I was having trouble bringing it up. So I didn't realize how significant the difference in that wording is. It is significant. So everybody has seen this current draft ordinance. There are some editorial changes that don't change the intent of the ordinance, but they're probably important to have right. And so I open it up first for public comment on the ordinance, and then council can discuss what we're going to do tonight.
Right, thanks, Richard. Is there any public comment? Okay, David, you were first.
Okay. Council members, I'm David Lynn, a longtime resident of Ocean Shores. And after reading the revised changes to the sign ordinance and listening to the discussion by you and other citizens, I think the ordinance should once again be withdrawn for reworking. Valid free speech concerns were raised at the previous hearings, and I think it would be wise for the council to seriously consider them. My thoughts are these. The current revision to the ordinance is no better than the previous one, and the modest change does not address the issues. The public right-of-way is just that, a public space for the use of all citizens of Ocean Shores. It should not be expropriated for any one private property owner. The city's lack of enforcement of violations of private use of the right-of-way has led to some to conclude that they control the right-of-way adjacent to their lots. They do not. However, with regard to placing signs in the public right-of-way in front of a residence, it is only common courtesy to ask the owner of that property for permission. Where common courtesy does not prevail, the property owner should have the right to remove the sign. Allowing unrestricted placement of signs invites mischief. Signs should be allowed in the right-of-way in front of undeveloped parcels. Requiring explicit approval by these property owners is unrealistic to obtain and even more unrealistic to enforce. Will the code enforcement really have the time to track down the approvals for the placement of garage sale signs? Probably not. If by this ordinance, the owner of adjacent property is given the right to remove a sign in front of their house, it obviates the need for consent. They implicitly give or withhold consent by their actions. The sign code, as it currently exists, has worked for many years, and it's not a problem that requires immediate attention. There are so many more critical problems in this city that need attention. This seems to be a frivolous effort. It is a solution in search of a problem. Thank you for your time.
All right, go ahead.
Randy Peck, Ocean Shores. Two issues. One, it's the ordinance as it sits now negates any what's directly in front. What if we do what our realtors do? They put the sign on the edge of the property, and you don't know whose property's for sale. So why not just at the property line? Or an alternative, if you support the person, you put it on your property line, and the ones that are perpendicular property line, you know are not the person in front who sits in front of supporting it. Simple and easy. The other issue is, are you going to pay for everyone's in every mailbox postal service to send postcards to every mailbox in Ocean Shores to get name recognition? This is sort of like only the preferred voices are allowed to be heard, is the way this ordinance reads. Moreover, the very last section, saying it's effective in 5 days after passage, excuse me, we're in the middle of an election cycle. And if you think our elections are terrible now, wait, we may not have people even put their name into the ballot because we have 3 seats and 3 people on separate seats on the ballot. Could there be a reason for that? I wonder. But nonetheless, it should be at least after November 4th, which is Election Day, when it takes effect. Signs that have been put out by volunteers, etc., who knows where they put them, but are you going to require the person who's the candidate to run around and check? Number one. Number two, the PDC requires you to put who paid for that sign on the bottom. It isn't that hard in a town of 7,000 to 8,000 people to look up where someone is or who they are. And the PDC even has that information. So maybe we should have a 72-hour requirement to contact the person before you move that sign so that they who have paid for that sign can come collect it and let it be posted somewhere else. It's only common courtesy, even though that seems to be lacking these days. Thank you.
All right, do we have any other? Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Lillian Broadbent. The sign code again. It seems to me that we've been through that a few dozen times in the last 20 years. And during that time period, the signs have gotten more and more prolific and more and more obnoxious and less controlled. We are a town of 7,000 people. We don't have to have 7,000 rules, but we should have a few. And I think this current ordinance provides a few. Is it perfect? I don't think so. I'd like to see the sign requirement tightened up for downtown Ocean Shores. In the olden days, signs weren't allowed in downtown Ocean Shores. In fact, they weren't allowed from Point Brown west, and they weren't allowed from Chancellor-Mere south. So the core downtown area couldn't have any temporary signs. And I had some dear friends that were in the estate sale business, and they used to come unglued because they could not have put their signs this side of, actually, they couldn't put them in before what's now the roundabout. That may have been a bit extreme, but I'll tell you, our front gate looked a whole hell of a lot better. It's embarrassing now. And not only has it been inundated with local election signs and garage sale signs and other things, but it's also drawn attention from other areas in the county where it's absolutely not allowed to put signs in the business area. And it's not allowed to just stash them all along the sides of every road in town. We're unique in that, and it's gone beyond what I think is reasonable. So you have to ask me to put your sign in front of my house? Yeah, you do. I'd have to ask you if I wanted to set a garage sale sign on your doorstep. This isn't unreasonable, and it's not out of line with other cities. I urge you to go ahead and pass it tonight. And let's get a start on getting a handle on what has become Garbage Sign City. Thank you.
Any other comments? Go ahead.
Susan Canary. Just like to say congratulations to Nicole. Good choice. She'll be great. I'd like to share a few concerns about the proposed sign ordinance. First, the language is confusing. Numbering is inconsistent, and some provisions are so vague they could make a dictionary dizzy. An ordinance should be clear enough that both citizens and staff can understand it without needing a decoder ring. Second, I question the enforceability of certain sections. For example, the ordinance allows removal of signs in the public right-of-way if they are immediately in front of private property, based on whether a reasonable person may conclude the owner authorized it. I'm not sure my reasonable person hat comes with a user manual, and even then, subjective laws are seldom enforceable. Third, we've been told the city attorney approves this language, yet there's no signature line stating approved to form and content. If this is true, shouldn't it say so? Or is this the new invisible ink approach to legal approval? We already have a sign ordinance. It works. It's enforceable. Replacing it with language that raises more questions than answers risks confusion and maybe even lawsuits. Finally, many in the community have noticed that this ordinance doesn't address a broad citywide problem. It seems more like a response to frustrations about signs near certain properties. Public policy should serve the whole community, not the pet peeves of a few. For these reasons, I urge you to leave our current ordinance in place. Let's not invite confusion or courtroom cameos when we already have clear rules that work. Thank you.
Any other public comment out there? We've got Don Williams online.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Don Williams here. This is the third time that I've provided comments on this ordinance, so I really apologize in advance if I'm repeating what I said before. But this ordinance as presented tonight has the same problems that it had at the get-go. First, Section 4 regarding the placement of temporary signs on the city right-of-way relies on the incorrect assumption that the property owner owns the land outside of his or her property boundaries. That's simply not true. If that was true, then the streets and sidewalks would be an easement on somebody's title. It's not an easement, it's a right-of-way, and that's a completely different thing. So that's a bad assumption right from the get-go. Therefore, a sign placed by anybody on the city right-of-way, if it's not in violation of some other city code, which it could be, is in fact legally placed. And that's important because at the last council meeting, I explained about a state law, RCW 29A 84040, that makes it a misdemeanor to remove or deface any political sign that is legally placed. While a sign placed in the city right-of-way by the property owner or at the property owner's permission is legally placed, so is the sign placed in that right-of-way by anybody else. And that's the problem with this ordinance. It takes away the right of certain people to freedom of expression, and I think that's one of the big problems that's been discussed before. At the council, okay. So then, my second comment is that you need to resolve this issue of sign height, and so I wonder why is this important that temporary signs can remove the requirement of anything discussing sign height that has been removed, but it's still important for all the other types of signs. And why there's no definition of sign height anywhere in the city code. My third comment is after reading this ordinance and providing comments at two prior city council meetings, this ordinance contains the same sloppy editing and formatting errors that it had on day one. It's just painful for me to keep reading this thing when all these sloppy things in the ordinance are still there and have not been changed after coming through the council for the third time. So I'm still wondering if anybody is responsible for ensuring that what goes to the council and is presented to the public, as this ordinance has been presented now 3 times, is of high quality, without sloppy editing and formatting errors, and it's camera ready. That should be the objective. And this isn't the only ordinance that's come before the council that has these sloppy editing problems.
That's time, Mr. Williams.
Thank you.
All right, we don't have anybody else online, so council, questions, discussion? Yes, Rich?
Thank you. Just, sorry, writing my notes. Listening to the speakers, I apologize that they don't agree with the city lawyer. I spoke today with Dan Lindgren, the county assessor. I spoke with the county auditor. We've addressed things properly in this based on what they said to me today. I appreciate the word signs need to be lawfully placed, especially in regards to campaign signs. Council has the ability to enact ordinances that are concerning right-of-way or city-owned land. It's our ability to enact them if we choose. I would like, the expectation was that some of these items were going to be updated for this meeting. They weren't, and I would like if you are able to go along with me for just some really simple updates. The very first update I want to suggest in our packet is literally the first entry where it says B, temporary signs. Temporary signs may be in accordance with subsection B1 through, and it says in parentheses 12, should be 11 now. So the 12 gets turned into an 11. And then you simply see that B starts our ordinance here with a 1, followed by a 2, followed by a 3, followed by another 3 that obviously should be a 4. So the second 3 should be a 4 and carry out so that every other number is increased by 1. So 4 becomes 5, 5 becomes 6, 6 becomes 7, 7 becomes 8, 8 becomes 9, 9 becomes 10, 10 becomes 11. So with those first two changes, the numbers and the number of numbers that's addressed right in the first B, if you go to my final recommendation, which is the new number 10, which was the old number 9, and the new number 10 is A, B, and then I, triple I, and C, and then there's a reference in the original one to B4, and I'm sorry, I've missed that letter. Is that B4C? Anyone? It should be B instead of the B4 and the parentheses. That's a number, and I can't read it. Okay, so instead of B4B, it should be B10, A, and B. From what I see, that cleans up the numerical issues, cleans up a couple of references, and the rest is for other input.
There's one item I'd like changed on that, Rich, and that has the electrical part that says the ICC. We operate under the NEC and the WAC for our codes. For
Sir, that is...
It's the last sentence.
It would be old item 10, now item 11C.
Yeah, 11C.
So 11C should strike ICC and should
You can leave that in there if you wish, but we operate under the National Electrical Code and also the Washington Administrative Code for our electrical inspectors, so.
So what should we insert?
NEC.
NEC.
Add the NEC and add WAC, WAC.
WAC. So like comma WAC.
Yeah. Washington
Electrical
Administrative
Code.
Yes, go ahead, Lisa.
So we've had discussions with ordinances before and listening to the comments tonight. I think, sometimes when we approach these ordinances, we're not looking at them in its entirety, looking at more or less correcting an issue that we've had in the past. And I think maybe one of the things that we can do as council is making sure if we're looking at a specific item in an ordinance that we want to amend, that we maybe take a look at the entire ordinance. And I know that wasn't necessarily on our agenda, and otherwise we would have caught the electrical code, because there are instances like that through our code where references have changed over time. And second, the whole premise, I think, where we started this conversation with temporary signs is in prior elections, we have had candidates put signs up in front of people's properties without their permission and threatened to sue if they were removed. So part of what we're trying to correct here is that we're not trying to stop freedom of speech, but if you don't support a certain thing, garage sale even, you shouldn't be allowed to put those in front of people's properties without their permission. And I don't necessarily think it's something that the city needs to drive around looking for. If you've got complaints, then we respond to the complaints as we get them. But I think that's kind of the premise of where we started with the sign ordinance itself.
Right, any other comments down here? Yes, Denise?
Yeah, Rich, I'd just like you to clarify again, because we did have the question regarding RCW 29 as to a sign being lawfully placed. So can you just clarify again what you said about us being able to create an ordinance, something lawfully placed?
Well, at this point, today, signs are lawfully placed in the right of way.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have no rules.
Correct.
Ordinances. So by us enacting the ordinances, then in this example, if this was adopted by us and someone put a sign up without getting permission and the landowner cared, that sign then wouldn't be lawfully placed because the ordinance says you need to have permission. Temporary signs placed in the right-of-way pursuant to this subsection shall not be located immediately in front of private property without property owner's consent. The sign may be removed by the private property owner and disposed of without notice to the owner of the sign. That's what should have been read at the podium, rather than bits and pieces of it. That's what the ordinance says. So that's what gives us the ability to determine if a sign is lawfully placed or not.
Thank you.
All right. Lisa? No? Okay. Sometimes I don't see your hand come up, so, yeah. Oh, yes, go ahead, Richard.
So I'd like to point out that my understanding is the Supreme Court has declared there's no such thing as a political sign. And this ordinance is saying we're addressing temporary signs. And so the whole issue that was discussed in public comments about political signs, I don't see its relevance. And as far as sign height, I'm pretty sure that this ordinance is describing sign height for real estate signs. And a real estate sign is not a sign in a window or a sign on top of a marquee. It's a sign generally placed on an L-shaped bracket, and the height of those brackets is 5 feet. They shouldn't be 8 feet or 10 feet. They should be 5 feet, because any higher than that would obstruct the driver's view. It'd be a safety issue. It would obstruct vision. So I don't think that the height issue, which was my concern the last time this was discussed, as I really focused this ordinance is addressing real estate sign height. It's no longer a relevant issue. So those are my two comments. Oh, one more comment, I'm sorry. Was already said as we open this that we're currently calling this an amendment, and it's not an amendment, it's a revision. So as we correct these changes, we need to make sure that we capture revision. And those are my comments.
All right. Anybody else have any comments or anything to say? Yes, Allison?
I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to approve an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, amending Ocean Shores Municipal Code, Chapter 15.34.080B, sign code regarding temporary signs, providing for severability and establishing an effective date. As corrected.
Second.
All right, we have a second. Any other comments?
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Are we
Denise.
changing, amending to revision? Okay.
All right, any
And-
other comments?
And I want to just clarify, all of the comments that Mr. Hartman, Councilmember Hartman said will be included as this gets published. Isn't that what you're,
That's what Allison stated, yeah. All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll go on to old business, or no, new business, excuse me. We have a request of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, to approve the purchase of an outdoor stage for the convention center from Advantage Trailer. And this will be presented by our convention center general manager, George Lee.
So good evening, Mayor and Council. I just want to give you a brief overview as to why we need this and why this request is coming to you. The City of Ocean Shores has been fortunate for Willis Enterprises to loan us a trailer stage for our festival seasons for many years. Last year, that trailer was sold, so we didn't have one. So we went out and reached out to several other companies, which we quickly found that would not loan us a trailer of that caliber. The curtain trailers like we got from Willis was very expensive, and they just didn't want to do that. So then we started reaching out for a rental for an event stage to find out it was anywhere from $2,500 to $4,000 for each time we used it. So with that said, that is when we started looking at maybe being able to purchase a trailer to be used here for all of the events. We have several events, not only city events, that could use this trailer, so we could actually recoup some of the revenue by renting the stage to other shows. The trailer, if purchased, we've got a place to keep it out of the elements and keep it good for the next several years. So that's why I'm asking that you award the trailer low bid of $45,204 to Advantage Trailer.
All right, thanks, George. Any public comment? Yes, go ahead.
Rick Beveridge, Ocean Shores resident for almost 12 years now. Sorry, I was arguing with myself for a second. Bad Rick won. I feel it's necessary to say this bothers me the last few times I've been here. I just want to say that I would guess that at least 95% of this town appreciate everybody in this room and what you do for us as citizens. And the 5% of the malcontents in this town bother me immensely. And just know that a large majority of us, from the mayor to the city council to George, to everybody that works for this city, to the guys that I see out picking up the trash in the trucks in the mornings, you're appreciated and thank you. With that being said, back to the business. I have been an event promoter in this town for most of the time I've been here. I probably average about between 200 and 250 hours a year volunteering to put events on in this town. 2 years ago, I started doing live music events, and my focus is to bring to this town something that doesn't happen or hadn't happened much in the years I've been here, and that's to bring in live original music, not a tribute band and not a bar band. There's nothing wrong with those, but my opinion is if I'm in Seattle and I'm looking to see what's going on Ocean Shores and you have a tribute band or a bar band playing, that's not necessarily much of a motivation for me to come to this town. But if I can come and see an original band that writes and produces and records their own music, that is a draw to me. And I can tell you as a promoter of these events that the quality of the equipment that we offer these bands to come to this town matters. And I've looked closely at the stage that George has looked at. I've seen very similar stages at other events, and I go to a lot of events in this region every year, and they are appreciated, and they are, I think, a real asset to the city. Thank you.
All right, any other public comment out there? Seeing none, we got Don Williams online.
Okay, are we up?
Yep, you're good.
Yeah, I don't want to dispute the fact that this center stage is needed, but what I wanted to ask about is the way it's being accounted for. The bars code that you're looking at on page 661 of the agenda, that's a barcode for marketing professional services, and what's charged that barcode is subscriptions to advertising and things like that. This is a capital expense, and it should not be charged to a bars code that's dedicated to purchasing marketing materials and subscriptions. And so I think I'm not disputing the importance of the stand. I'm just questioning how this is being slipped in to an expense code when it's really capital equipment. And I think you're going to be in big trouble with the auditors by doing that. Thank you.
All right, nobody else online? All right, that concludes public comment. Council, any questions or comments? Yes, Lisa Griebel.
I just want to appreciate the work that you're doing, George, and I also appreciate the, I would say, transparency to let us know about preserving this asset once it's purchased, if approved, that the plan to where you're going to store it and how to keep it out of the elements, so that when we do, if we approve it tonight, if it's we're purchasing something for that amount of money, that there's a plan to store it and keep it nice.
Go ahead, George, if you want to answer that.
Yes, we, like I said, we're making arrangements at the Public Works Yard to have a bay to put that in. And at worst case scenario, if it's in between a time of events, we will actually pull it into our back bay door, so it wouldn't be left outside.
All right, thanks. Any other comments? Richard.
I absolutely support the need for this trailer. I want to address Mr. Williams' comment, and I think that when it's time to vote, I know what I'm going to vote, but I would like our finance director or the CPA that we hire to verify that we are putting this in the correct bars code category. So I did look at the bars code when I read this. That's all I've got.
All right, anybody else?
I'd like to make a motion to approve a request of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, to approve the purchase of the outdoor stage for the Convention Center from Advantage Trailer. And with that, I do trust that our finance director will make sure that it is coded correctly.
Second.
All right, we got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Thanks, George.
Thank you.
All right, next we have a request of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, approving the purchase of 2 Vaughn chopper pumps and for the coast control to work on the wastewater collection department on the installation of the pumps at the wastewater collection state park upgrade. And that's presented by Becky Leach and our Public Works Director, Ricky. You guys are here already before I got done.
We are, and I just have to say that I'm really excited to have a partner in crime going forward, so it's pretty awesome. The wastewater collections division would like to replace the pumps at the state park. They're past their useful life, they're over 35 years old, and they're not made any longer, and they're not able to get parts for them. There are little to no compatible sewage pumps available with the right curvature to fit in the area where it needs to go. the wastewater collections division wants to purchase 2 Vaughn chopper pumps to replace the old ones, and then Coast Controls is going to do the installation for Phase 3 power, and the upgrade to Phase 3 power is needed to run these pumps. So the total scope of work is for the wastewater collection division to install the chopper pumps in the wet well with new check valves, and then Coast Controls will install the power, and this will be paid for out of sewer capital replacement funds. The total is $75,387.40. We will be advertising in the paper for the 14 days it's required because our public works crews will be doing part of the work. And it is a sole source item because nobody else makes the pumps. And then there's also the pollution memo was included in the agenda packet for that because it is definitely part of the pollution control system.
All right. Any public comment? Yeah, go ahead.
All right, the green light's on this time. Just a question I had. I noticed that in this calendar year, we've received 3 warnings from Ecology about exceeding the fecal coliform discharge from the treatment plant. And I just wondered, will this help that, or are there other plans in the works to deal with that problem that we're discharging those excess material?
All right, thanks. Any other comments? We have one on the line? Nope. All right, council, any questions? Yes, Rich.
I have a question about something that neither one of you created, nor did anyone here. We're paying, obviously, the Park Service is a customer of the city. I don't know how long ago that happened, maybe just with the new system. Does it go further? Are we grabbing the casino as well?
We should ask Ricky to answer that, yeah.
Yeah, so the casino pumps from, they have a lift station there at their parking lot. It's right to the right, just this weird hut that doesn't really look like it belongs there. So they have a wet well there that they pump to us. And as that's kind of going by, we collect from the state park. It's just a weird access road, and then we pump from there down to the high school and then into our pump station one, our main gravity lift station in town.
So the casino's our northernmost customer.
Yeah.
Is it, do we ever address what we charge the customers, or is it, I'll make it, is it $51.90 a month,
It's based off of a rate. So from the casino, we actually have a flow meter that we bill based off of, and then the state park, we bill based off of pump run times, I believe. And so I think that answers your question, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Obviously, you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
we have a customer giving us $200 a month, and we're just spending another $75,000 helping.
Yeah, so there's a designated sewer rate for it. I think the casino, we have a special agreement with. The state park, we just bill the regular, it's our sewer rate, and then I think it's 150% because they're outside the corporate city limits. So it's 150% of our regular rates.
Things people don't think of in the past when they're doing agreements with people, that here's a big expense and we're just subsidizing them. So I just feel bad about how much expense and that they're not sharing in the expense.
I think in the, I think it was the agenda review, the question came up of how much we bill them. I think last month was $3,500, or right around there.
$3,500 a month.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, anybody else? Yes, Denise.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we did discuss it during agenda review because we were concerned that we were actually not just being reimbursed, but that that it was worth our while. And I think one of the questions that this answered was that we are getting paid every month, and it's been 35 years since we actually replaced the equipment. So it is cost effective for us.
All right, anybody else? Yes, Richard.
So I can't quite remember how David framed his question, but I thought it was a valid question when I heard it. If you remember how he framed it, can you answer it? Because I apologize.
Yeah,
I didn't write it
so
down.
so those exceedances with the Department of Ecology, those are kind of unrelated, but they have been addressed, and this won't necessarily affect it, but they're our fecal counts have been at one equivalent for the last roughly a month. So,
All right, anybody else? Yes, Allison?
Okay, so I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to approve a request of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores for the wastewater collections division to upgrade the state park chopper pump and equipment.
Second.
3 seconds on that one. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right. Well, next is a request of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, awarding the RPBA installation at the water treatment plant to Iron Creek Construction. And that is also presented by Project Manager Becky Leach and Public Works Director Ricky Victoriano.
RPBA stands for Reduced Pressure Backflow Assembly. For this project, we did get 4 bids in, which was pretty exciting. Low bid is going to Iron Creek Construction, who we have not worked with before. And I know the question always comes up if low bid is a good price because it's low bid. The bids were all within, I think, $5,000 or $6,000 of each other. So I feel good about this bid, and I'm excited to work with a new contractor because it's not very often that we get somebody new. So with that being said, the request is for council to approve the work of providing and installing the Zurn-Wilkins 375 reduced pressure backflow assembly, the RPBA, and it has grooved or flanged connection ends. There we go. For raw water treatment line at the treatment plant 2. And what the RPBA does is prevents reverse flow of treated water into the city wells. It's required by the Department of Health to prevent the potassium permanganate injection from affecting the groundwater. And the question had come up about why this hadn't been done before. This was one of the things that was recently found on a Department of Health visit. And so as soon as we found out about it, Ricky said, hey, let's get this done. And another item is that we like to sometimes buy the materials to get a better price than a contractor markup. But for this one, we felt it was important to have the contractor supply it for warranty reasons. So that's why we went that way with this one. The low bid cost is $43,476.35, and it will be paid out of water utility operations.
Right. Ricky, would you mind explaining what we're actually doing there and how you've saved money on this installation?
yeah, so we kind of had 2 routes to go when we found out. So I'll say originally it started with sanitary survey we were doing with the Department of Health and talking about, hopefuls and plans for the future. One of them that I was addressing was our raw water tap, and found out there was a vacuum on it, which can only mean one thing, is that water is draining away into the groundwater back into the wells. And so looking at that, our options were pretty much to just reinstall check valves or replace the check valves that are in place. And in doing that, we would be replacing a backflow device, which is not testable and generally not necessarily repairable. They're just replaced with another backflow device that we wouldn't be able to do any maintenance on in the future. And so to instead of spending $10,000 to $20,000 on each well and any future well, to upgrade that to designated backflow device, we're doing it at the point of, or right before the point of injection for this chemical, and we're just installing one backflow device that's going to protect all wells and future wells. So,
Good, thank you. Council, any questions? Yeah, Rich? Or no, we haven't gone to public comment. Hang on. Is there any public comment? None out there. We have Dawn online.
Yeah, we okay?
Yes, go ahead.
I just have a couple of comments. Here again, this is a professional services barcode, so I don't believe it's being charged to the proper account. And the other problem is this particular bars code has a budget of $3,180, and this is a $43,000 project. So the fact that it requires no budget amendment is not correct. So I think you have to, when you vote for this thing, you better add, even though it doesn't say so, to add a budget amendment because it's going to be required. Otherwise, you won't have the money to pay for it. Thank you.
All right, now, council? Yes, Richard?
So I just want to clarify, my understanding from what you just said is that we currently have 5 wells supplying the city, and each of those wells had its own backflow device, but apparently one or more of them is failing, and that's why we found a vacuum when the system was tested. And this new device, instead of having 5 backflows that we cannot service, we will have one backflow that services all 5 wells. Do I understand correctly?
Yeah, so it'll be one backflow assembly that we'll test every year and we'll repair as needed upon testing. So.
Thank you.
Any other council question? Yes, Lisa.
Thanks so much for your presentation. I appreciate, and I learned a lot from that. I know we as council had received some communication about the backflow device and just some questions. And I think one of the questions that came up is, was there anything that we needed to be communicated to the public? Was there any impact to the water supply over because we didn't have this that we should have been communicating to the public?
Yeah, so one of the, I'll say the main concern with any instance of backflow of this potassium permanganate into the groundwater would have been an excess of manganese, which we monitor daily, and there hasn't been an increase that we've been able to tell. It's about the same from, I think, January 2019 is what I looked at and compared to January this year. And there was really no fluctuation. It stayed about the same. Our finished water is still next to no manganese in that, and any sampling that we've done hasn't shown any. So.
All right, any other comments, questions? We want council action? Yes, Richard.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the request of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores to award the RPBA installation to Iron Creek Construction.
Second.
All right, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming up and explaining all that for us. There's no discussion, no executive session. Agenda review will be August 28th at 9 a.m. this coming Thursday. Council members will be Scott, Taylor, and Sires. Now we have good of the order, and we'll start at the other end. Rich.
The first thing I'd like to talk about is our November 11th meeting. I'm not sure if we touched on that, but that is on Veterans Day. It's a Tuesday. So I don't know if it's appropriate now to discuss, but would we want to consider moving it to a Monday, the 10th, because we have a fellow council member that already has Wednesday meetings?
Well, as far as I know, you guys can decide what you want to do with that. Normally, it goes back to the Wednesday, but yeah, we do have somebody that has to be on a Wednesday council meeting. So,
what are your opinions for the staff?
It's more work for the staff. That's why we moved it to a Tuesday, but I'm sure we can get by for one day, one meeting. Do it on a Monday. Yes, Richard?
I just want to make sure, I don't think that I was focused well enough, so we're going to move that November 11th to November 10th on a Monday.
That's what Rich is talking about.
And
we're discussing it.
What do we need to do to make that happen?
Yeah.
You do it.
George would be the first guy to check with. It might not be available. They might, I don't know what they have the weekend before or whatever.
So we have time to make that decision before the next council meeting. And
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We do have time.
the way we act, it might not be enough time, but we can try.
Yeah.
So maybe by
George
next
would be
meeting, you guys can come back and give us
Yeah, we'll check
something on
with
the
George.
agenda.
Yeah, we'll check with George.
So I had that.
I just wanted to say I would prefer to have it on the Monday, if possible.
And then rumblings amongst ourselves once in a while about how best to have discussions with council. Obviously, we know we can have special meetings. We can have study sessions and such. Also a possibility that we could have topics that we, for example, I know we all feel like we've been here too long, but it's only been a couple hours. Do we want to have a couple of items that we start putting on our agenda for discussions that would enable us to check some boxes of some of the things? Like, I can read a million of them, but like the road survey, we need to discuss it in public before we have a public meeting probably on it, or not a public meeting, but a town hall. It's how would council and staff, how would it work best for us? I've noticed in the past, anytime we try to do a study session, it's pulling teeth to try to find a day that works for everyone. Obviously, the second and fourth Tuesdays of every month work pretty well. We're all here most of the time. But I just want to start a discussion with how are we going to handle some of these topics that we need to get through.
I don't know, this is your guys' discussion on that. Yes, Denise?
This is a topic that came up at Public Works because we started talking about doing town halls and then realized that before we did town halls, we first talked about doing it for streets, and then we talked about infrastructure, and then there's also our waterways, and we didn't come up with a solution. It's really something for council to figure out, but how do we at least look at all of the studies that have been done with council and set our priorities to at least bring some of those priorities back to the public and get their input on. So we talked about study sessions. We also talked about what Rich is suggesting, if we just bring a topic to a council session and increase the length of the sessions. Any ideas?
I think, we could, sometimes stuff comes up at the last minute, and I think good of the order, it's a good place for us to have that conversation too. But we can also note that under good of the order and bring it back to the agenda review and put it on for a discussion item. I know sometimes we want to have a more hearty discussion than typically we have at a meeting, and that may warrant a study session or even a town hall. I think it's just going to depend upon the topic.
I like the idea of a study session first, and then you bring something that is more together and ready to go to the public and discuss, for town hall. You guys discuss it first and figure out what you want to do with it.
Is there something that limits our ability to have a study session during our council meeting?
You'd have one, I think I don't remember right, but I thought maybe they've done some things before, right?
Yeah,
A council
yeah, we
meeting.
did some that we would have the study session before the council
Right,
meeting.
a couple hours ahead of time. Yeah, so
Well, I worry
meet
about
at 4.
people that are working again, though.
Yeah.
I just know that we have a horrible time picking dates. So I'm great with either way.
I think as long as it's not all the time, I think having something a couple hours before a meeting could be doable. I don't know if that just come from me.
I'm not sure how the people that are working outside the city feel, though. You work outside the city. The other Lisa does as well. Allison. Tom, can you speak? Because I'm thinking of people like you too. Would you rather set up a special day to have a study session, like the first Tuesday or third Tuesday, or would you rather? Yeah, you're shaking your head. We've got some items we've got to chip away at. So what's the best way to start chipping away at it?
You know, honestly, if you had a set time for a study session every month, it doesn't mean you have to use it every month. But it's known that if there is something we need to cover, it's scheduled.
So then I worry about staff time and I worry about convention center availability.
Well, if we had something set up every month, it would be easier for George to, schedule things, knowing that potentially there could be a study session on that day.
Yeah, because it could be a study session. So if you did the third Tuesday of every month, and I'm just throwing that out there, it could either be a study session or it could be a town hall. Either way.
But at the same point, I will say, even if you only allowed 30 minutes of discussion at a council meeting on a specific subject, if you could tell that it was growing and needed to be really, you really had to dive into it, then we could turn it into a full study session. But some of these things we just need to address. And again, it's another 45 minutes or so in a council meeting to take care of some of these things is so much easier than pulling staff in on a different day or trying to get George to not book the convention center on a day.
Could we possibly do, like we used to do on the agenda, there would be at the end a discussion items that we could, if there was something, we could put it on there at agenda review and then have that discussion. Just a thought.
So how do we move forward? What do we do next? I mean,
Mayor, it's your staff. What direction? You've kind of heard we'd like to have more discussions than we've been having.
Yeah,
So,
I'd like that also.
but I'm worried about the impact to the staff.
Well, what do you think, Scott?
Well, I think we did it before council. Like if we started at 5, we've done that in the past. I think that's the easiest way to guarantee the staff are going to be here. So we could have like, a 1-hour study session prior to the council meeting. And then that probably is going to make it easier for George to book because we already know that we don't have events that are coming up on those given days. And then we just choose, maybe a topic. I know there are a list. There's a long list. There's a lot of reports that are being made. There's a lot of things that we're looking into. And so just a matter of how council wants to prioritize it.
Yeah, we've done that in the past. Start early and then roll into the council meeting.
How would that affect some of you people that work out of town?
That would work for me because I get off at 4, so.
Lisa?
Do I let you get off at 4, Allison?
I have the best boss in
Whoops.
the entire world who lets me get off work at 4 o'clock.
It does impact my yoga time, but so just warning you, I won't have yoga before the discussion.
So who was on?
As far
Scott,
as-
Taylor, and
And I don't know about Tom. He struggles sometimes getting here by 6. I would have to take time off, but if I know ahead of time when I need to do that, I can make those arrangements.
So if we decide you have agenda setting this week, I know you've got some topics. I know you have some topics. You could potentially, okay.
So you're gone in at the next meeting, but
Yeah, it's a bad example right now for me personally.
yeah, but if we want, we could definitely put a study session on for the next meeting, September 10th, 9th.
all right, so that'll get discussed on Thursday. I think that's a good way to do it early. So, Richard?
So I don't have a lot. I always like to express my appreciation for the job that the city staff does. We have, I think, some of the most amazing staff. I'm reluctant to pat myself on the back, but in my effort to become a better city council member, I have been keeping up with AWC education courses. And I achieved the 60 hours, so I am now a double certified CML achiever for whatever that's worth. And all it really means is I have been exposed to advanced knowledge. It doesn't mean I always remember what I was exposed to.
Well, I appreciate the work. That was a lot of work. So
Well,
congrats
thank
on
you.
that. Allison?
I just want to say that the group put together the Airport Appreciation Day. I went out there and it was a great turnout. Lots of really great planes. Denise, I love y'all's plane. Avert was out there. Some other groups were out there. The food trucks. There was a really big turnout. The classic cars that were there. So the group that put that together did a great job, and I think it's probably going to grow every year.
Right, thanks. Lisa.
I too want to express my appreciation for staff. I had a couple emails come in regarding a park, and Ricky got right on that and was able to answer that. So again, really appreciate that. In second, we do have a town hall coming up regarding, I'm just going to say livestock. I know we had that conversation at council, and at council we had decided that topic, we were done discussing it. However, there were some emails that were submitted to the mayor and then to me that there were, I guess, individuals that weren't present for that discussion that wanted to have a more in-depth conversation regarding this topic. So that is why we are having a town hall. I'm not sure that I'm going to have anything prepared other than just for us to listen to what the citizens have to say. So thank you.
I think that's really all we're going to do. Let everybody voice their opinions. Lisa Griebel.
So I have a couple of things. And first, when is the town hall? Because I've seen two different dates and some miscommunication, I think, on Facebook about when it is.
We'll ask our
September
city clerk.
2nd.
September 2nd?
Okay, thank you. And then I did want to just give a pre-shout out to our convention center crew because they've got a big weekend coming up, and our Associated Arts has a huge arts weekend. So I hope you all have time to attend that, and then to say thank you to all the volunteers that are putting that together, and then our convention center crew that'll be working this Labor Day weekend on that. And then just a few thoughts. I've lived here full-time for over 12 years now, and property owner for more than 12 years. And I've been to a lot of these meetings, sitting here on this side of the table, sitting in the audience. I've listened to council meetings on the radio. I've watched them on YouTube. I've watched them, unfortunately, sometimes on local TV stations being played, parts of it over and over again as news, which has never been good. But I've heard a lot of public comment over the years, and some public comment I agree with, and some public comment I don't agree with. But what I do respect is everybody's right to come here and stand at that podium, or now they can Zoom in and give their public comment. They can email their, call in, do their public comment. I respect their right to give public comment, whether I agree with it or whether people in the audience agree with it. And I think it's healthy to hear other people's opinions, even opinions we don't agree with. And that's represents a healthy community. It's not a healthy community for 100% of people to agree. And we learn a lot from one another when we listen to what other people have to say. And there's just been a lot of public comment about public comment. So I hope we continue to have public comment about public comment, and that's okay, because that is a healthy community when we express our ideas and we listen. We may not agree, but I think we need to listen and be respectful to the people that are giving public comment.
Denise.
Thank you, Lisa, for those comments. No, it really is important, you know, and having been a librarian my whole life, listening and reading and respecting all points of view is really critical. Thanks, Allison, for mentioning the Airport Appreciation Days. It was a lot of work for the Airport Advisory Committee. Also a call out to KOSW that was there the whole day, as well as CERT. And one of the things I wanted to share about that day is that it's very nice to see all of the planes, at least it is for me, including the $1 million plus plane that was parked next to my not so $1 million plane. And thank you to Scott, who was actually wounded at there. So I hope you have survived your bee sting. But in talking to some of the members of the Washington Pilots Association, one of the things that they talked to me about was that they had gone to a workshop that was actually in Eastern Washington, where pilots were talking about how they could come together in the case of any kind of West Coast disaster to deliver supplies. And it just reinforced again how important our airport was. And the person that was talking to me said that he had never landed at Ocean Shores before, and now he was going to encourage his fellows from out there to come and visit. So while it's a fun day, it also exposes us to other people who could be our helpers in a case of any kind of emergency.
All right, thanks. Can we get a adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
We're adjourned.
This has been a live presentation of North Beach TV. We now return you to our regular programming. Already in progress.